Happy Friday, MLS fans. Are you ready for this weekend's unpredictable Major League Soccer games? It's Oscar Moneyball here, and I'll be using my cutting-edge match simulator to predict the scores, win probabilities, and goal scoring chances for all 14 games of Matchday 9. I'm really excited to continue delivering this content to you, excited to continue inputting the data that feeds this match simulator to only make it better. Over time, it's only going to get better, and I'm really excited to see this grow and see the good weekends, the bad weekends. Last week was just horrible for us, as a lot of the results did not go the way the match simulator had predicted, I guess you can call it. We have 14 games to go over. The first one of it, let me just make sure we transition, is Portland Timbers versus LAFC. We have two teams that have been scoring pretty regularly, but at the same time, they've also allowed goals pretty regularly. Portland Timbers expected goals 2.2 versus LAFC's 1.5 expected goals. Win probability is in favor for Portland, 42% versus 33% for LAFC. The over 0.5 goals in this match is 71% for Portland, 72% for LAFC. Over 1.5 goals is 48% for Portland, 42% for LAFC. Match day 2, we have Montreal's first home game this season, which is why our match simulator is not able to spit out an answer, as they have no record. It has nothing to give us. So unfortunately, I don't have anything to share other than I'm excited to see if Cincinnati is able to get over this bad slump that they've been having. They've just been doing really terrible. They've been able to score, however, they haven't been able to dominate the games and show that dominance over the teams like they did last season. They did lose some important players like Brandon Vasquez, which probably had a lot to do with it. But regardless, this is a team that broke records last year. It's just a shame to see how they're playing now. Montreal has been playing, all the way games up till this point, winning some, losing some, just like every team has. There hasn't really been a consistent team that has just been dominating, but we'll let this game play out, and hopefully it'll feed us better data moving forward. The next game is match 3. Charlotte FC really strong at home versus a Toronto FC squad that just lost 0-4 last weekend against their Canadian rivals Vancouver. Charlotte FC expected goals is 1.5 versus Toronto's 0.4 goals in this match. Very low scoring teams at the moment. The win probability is in favor by a big margin, 62% for Charlotte FC to win this match versus Toronto's 0% to win this match. Over 0.5 goals in this game, we have 75% for Charlotte, 33% for Toronto to score that first goal. Anything over that, we call it over 1.5 goals. Charlotte having 42% to score over 1 goal in this match versus Toronto's 9%. I don't know too much about these teams other than Toronto's Italians, the kicking and screaming team there, is it's growing, right? They had a really bad season last year, and Charlotte is just really strong at home. I think the simulator's spitting out an obvious result there. It could go Charlotte 2-0, it could go Charlotte 1-0, it could go 1-1, it could go 2-1. I think in all of these scenarios, we still see Charlotte winning right off the bat. It would be a hard blow for Toronto to take 2 L's on the road back to back. Match 4 is DC United versus Orlando City. Expected goals in this match, DC United 3.1 goals, Orlando City 0.4 goals. DC United, that has been looking really solid this season so far. The win probability for DC United is at 79% versus Orlando's 3% win probability in this match. Over 0.5 goals for DC United is at a very high 86% versus 25% for Orlando to score just 1 goal. Over 1.5 goals in this match is 72% for DC and 8% for Orlando. Be careful with these big spreads there. DC United, although they are completely, in favor to win this match, sometimes these are the games where you see the underdog, in this case being Orlando, upsetting a lot of parlays or bets this weekend. Match 5, we have New York City FC that I believe just announced this week that they are in the works to have a new stadium built for them. I'm sure they're really excited. Seeing them play wherever they're playing their home games is just painful to watch. New York City expected goals 3.2 versus New England Revolution 1.1 goals in this match. New England Revolution that looked horrible during their knockout games versus America, a New England squad that was able to put 2 goals once they subbed in better players against America away, with an America team that just kind of gave up, and they were already winning 9-0 in aggregate. However, this is the MLS. This is different. This is actual home competition. So I do believe that spread there, including the win probability of 64% for New York City versus 11% for New England Revolution, is really clear. New England doesn't seem to have much going for them. They have really slow defenders. All of these defenders are really heavy. They look like they're out of shape. They don't look good in transitions. Their midfielders with Carlos Gil and his brother is probably the highlight of the team. And that striker, number 9, not sure how to pronounce his name, are pretty decent, along with that new youngster that I can't pronounce his name, over on the right wing. Is the only thing that I can take away from this New England. But New York City seem to have okay defenders, maybe 1 or 2 that stand out. Really solid midfield team, and then really creative attackers. So I think New York City will more than likely win this match. In this game, we have the over 0.5 goals, 84% for New York City, 60% for New England Revolution. Over 1.5 goals, 70% for New York City versus 28% for New England Revolution. Then we continue with the New York teams. We have New York Red Bulls hosting Chicago FC. Expected goals for this game is 2.5 goals for New York Red Bulls versus 0.5 goals for Chi-Town. Win probability is 72% for New York Red Bulls versus 7% for Chicago. Wow, that is a huge margin or huge spread between them. Over 0.5 goals, 83% versus 38%. The over 1.5 goals is in favor also for New York, 62% versus 9%. New York Red Bulls have been really consistent from where they ended last season. Maybe marginally better. Not sure if that makes sense, but they've been improving, right? They purchased a really good player that came from Leipzig, and they have a really good youth development there where they're actually putting in players like Julian Hall, and they have other products, homegrown products in their squad. I'm just excited to see this team grow throughout the season. I'm talking about the Red Bulls here, and I do think they'll win this game. However, Chicago, I would put some money on them to score a goal. They've been consistent. They have creative players up top. They have a fan favorite, Brian Gutierrez. You just never know. This, like I mentioned, with the spread so high between these two teams, this always becomes a perfect result for an upset the perfect opportunity for an upset. Next match, FC Dallas. We're halfway there, hosting Seattle Sounders. Wow! Seattle Sounders just came from winning 5-0 versus somebody. Forgot who they demolished. Montreal? I think maybe it was Montreal. Moving forward, FC Dallas expected goals 1.1 versus Seattle Sounders expected goals 1.9. Win probability 22% for Dallas, 55% for Seattle. The over 0.5 goals is 65% for Dallas and 84% for Seattle. The over 1.5 is 30% for the home team Dallas and 56% for Seattle. Seattle, one thing I wanted to talk about is their ability to take shots in really high expected goals or really high XG areas. A big majority, if not all of their shots, are really close to the 6-yard box, which is exactly why they were able to dominate this last game that they won 5-0. They had a really high XG. They were able to score a lot of goals, and they've just been a team that they've been on the road for the last month, with exception of that last game where they won at home 5-0. But their XG has been there. It's been pretty high, and they've been able to score, and I believe most of all their games that they've been playing. So I would put my betting chips on Seattle to win this match, just as the simulator is spitting out. Match 8, Minnesota United versus Houston Dynamo. Very low scoring game here, as we can see. Expected goals for Minnesota 0.5 goals versus Houston Dynamo 0.6 goals. Win probability very low for Minnesota, 24% versus 21% for Houston, leaving a huge remaining probability for a draw or even a for the double chance. We have here an over 0.5 goals in this match with a really low 38% versus 43% for Houston Dynamo. The over 1.5 goals in this match is 8% for Minnesota and 54% for Houston Dynamo. Next up, we have Sporting Kansas City hosting Inter Miami, that just got eliminated from the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Sporting Kansas City expected goals 2.1, very evenly matched versus Inter Miami's 2.0 expected goals in this game. Win probability though is in favor for Kansas City, 40% versus 35% for Inter Miami. Over 0.5 goals is 83% for Sporting Kansas City and 80% for Inter Miami, letting us know that both teams to score in this match is very high. It's very highly anticipated. Over 1.5 goals is 58% versus 54% for Inter Miami. Very even game here. Very high scoring game as well. Potentially maybe an over 2.5 goals in this match. Definitely both teams scoring. We'll see how the match plays out, especially with Inter Miami taking a really big L in the middle of the week. Match 10, we have Real Salt Lake versus the Columbus Crew. Expected goals for Real Salt Lake 1.8 versus 1.0 for Columbus Crew, that just eliminated a really strong Tigres squad. Took them to PKs and was able to dominate with some amazing saves by the keeper. Win probability though for Real Salt Lake is 54% versus 22% for the Crew. Over 0.5 goals in this match, really high 82%. It's very likely for Real Salt Lake to score their goal, and 63% for the Crew to score another. Both teams to score there perhaps. Over 1.5 goals in this match is 52% for Real Salt Lake versus 27% for the Crew. What do I think about this match? Columbus Crew just played against a really tough Tigres away, on the road again. They could be a little bit jet lagged. The game against Tigres did go to overtime, and they did have to go through that stress of the PKs. They could be mentally drained. They could also be physically tired. Perfect opportunity for a talented Real Salt Lake team to take this really important dub versus a really good team. However, it is Columbus Crew, and you just never know. They could have the talent to hold off RSL 0-0-1-1. You know, they may not try to go for the win, so we'll see how the game plays out. Match 11 is my home team, San Jose Earthquakes versus Colorado Rapids. Colorado, that has just been surprising to many of us, quite honestly, as they were really low in the power rankings last year. And this year, they've just been able to score, and they've been able to take some important wins versus teams that you would expect them to lose against. We have the Earthquakes that have just been allowing goals in every match. They can't keep a clean sheet. They also score, but they tend to score about a goal. They did, however, score 3 against Austin, but Austin's just allowing a lot of goals and they're scoring a lot of goals. So that was sort of expected, as we called that out pretty perfectly in the last video. What do I think? I mean, I'll be attending that game, and it's going to be really sad knowing that as I'm pre-gaming and walking into the stadium with my family, I'm expecting them to lose. We have expected goals here, 1.1 versus 2.6 for Colorado. Win probability, there's a huge spread there between them. 13% for San Jose Earthquakes to win this match versus 62% for Colorado to take this match from the home squad. Over 0.5 goals in this match. Damn near a coin toss for the Earthquakes to score at least one. 57% versus 82%. A really high percentage for them to score for Colorado Rapids. Over 1.5 goals in this match. We have 26% for Earthquakes versus 62% for Colorado. One thing's for sure, that the Earthquakes will try to do their best to make this not happen, and the only way for them to do that is to let this be the first game they keep a clean sheet in, and they have to score. It would be really disappointing to walk away from the stadium, from PayPal Park, with the 0-0 game. Even if it's 1-1, I'll take that, right? Colorado, I mean, you were expecting to lose, and you were able to walk away with the draw. However, maybe over 1.5 goals in this match, because it could be that the Earthquakes could score that second goal, or you have a late goal from either team tying up the match. Vancouver Whitecaps versus LA Galaxy. LA Galaxy took their first L in the season versus a really strong LAFC team. Vancouver Whitecaps that just dominated versus Toronto. Both of these teams just came from playing their respective Clásicos. One took the dub, the other didn't. However, they're teams that are in really good form, that attack really well. So this game, I can see both teams to score. Vancouver Whitecaps expected goals 2.1 versus LA Galaxy 2.2 expected goals. Win probability is in favor, however, for the home team. 39% versus 36% for LA Galaxy. Over 0.5 goals, very high for both of these teams. 83% for Vancouver to score 1 goal. 81% for LA Galaxy to score 1 goal. Over 1 goal in this game, 59% for Vancouver versus 56% for LA Galaxy. Really entertaining game. I'll probably miss it, however, because I'll be watching the Earthquakes game. The last 2 games here, final stretch here. Atlanta United FC versus Philadelphia Union. Philadelphia, that has just been on fire these past couple of weeks. We have Carranza, who's been scoring, who's probably feeling really good. We have an Atlanta team that has just been confident at home. They've been able to get some positive results in their stadium. versus some very tough teams. Atlanta United expected goals 1.9 versus Philadelphia 0.8. The win probability is in favor for the home team, 62% for Atlanta United to win this match versus Philadelphia, 15% to win this match. Keep in mind though that in my previous videos, Philadelphia has been the team expected to lose, and they've been able to get some upsets. So yeah, don't discard this team. Over 0.5 goals for Atlanta, 84%, really high actually for Atlanta to score at least a goal there, versus 54% for Philadelphia Union. Over 1.5 goals is 56% for Atlanta versus 19% for the Union. And the last match, we have a St. Louis City coming out of a 0-0 draw last week versus another Texas team. Can they do better against this newer franchise, Austin FC? Expected goals is 0.9 versus 0.1 for Austin FC. Win probability is 57% versus 2% for Austin. A lot of spread between the two, and leaving a huge margin for a draw there. Can Austin FC take the point away from St. Louis City? Let's see. Over 0.5 goals for St. Louis is 59% versus 6% for Austin. Over 1.5 goals, 24% for St. Louis City and 0% for Austin FC. Keep in mind, Austin FC's record has just been that they have really high scoring games. Not just them scoring a lot of goals, but they receive a lot of goals. So if this game ends in 0-0 or 1-0, that'd be really sad. However, it is soccer. There are points that they're playing for. This isn't an exhibition match, so it's something that will have to be taken serious. St. Louis City seems to be a team that plays very serious. Austin FC is just trying to be entertaining to give back to their fans because they had a horrible season last year. We'll see how the game plays out, but that's a lot of games that we'll be having to keep an eye on. I'm excited to see how all these games play out.